This week on the Hey USA podcast, we'll talk to Pat Bertoletti, a man who once ate 444 chicken wings in a half hour and hopes to eat a whole bunch of hot dogs this weekend at the Nathan's Contest. So I understand, like you were retired, semi-retired, and you're kind of making the big comeback here. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I think it's been 9 years since the last time I did Nathan's. I don't know if it's a big comeback. I'm a little bit a lot older and fatter and have a lot less hair, but I'm going to give it the old college try,
Yeah. Now, how old are you now? You're mid-30s, upper 30s?
37, yep.
Okay. Now, for a competitive high-level eater, is that old, young? What are you, demo-wise?
Age doesn't seem to really matter. It's more just about physical, like being in physical shape. So I know Joey Chestnut's the number one eater. He's actually 1 year older than me, so it doesn't really seem to matter. It's just how you take care of yourself,
Mm-hmm. Why did you decide to leap back into this? It can't be, or is it just as easy as riding a bike? Why?
I had planned on going to New York this year to be a spectator. And then for some reason, the horrible idea crossed my mind that maybe I should try it again to see if I still have it. And that was the genesis of it. And then I couldn't shake the idea. And it's definitely not as easy as I remember doing it, but it's been a very long time. So it's really hard for me to tell.
Yeah. I would guess for a baseball player coming out of retirement, they know when they just feel the ball off the bat, or a golfer when he just hits it right down the middle. How does a person such as yourself know that you got what it takes to get back in?
I think the baseball analogy is great because, sometimes you'll just be eating and then, you can tell, right? You will know right away within the first couple of minutes if everything is working properly. And eating is a lot more complicated. Well, I know it is just eating at the end of the day, but I know there's chewing, there's swallowing, there's a lot of different muscles involved where it's just not really thought about in the general public. So, yeah, it's just when you get those all working together, it can be very fun.
Mm-hmm. You qualified, correct me if I'm wrong, in DC?
Yes.
Was that your qualifier? Tell me about that. I mean, was there a lead up to that, or do you just show up with a lot of other aspiring people such as yourself?
So I did an event, I think it was 2 months ago, Donut Holes, which was like a prelim for me just to get ready. I finished second with 275 Munchkin donuts. And then the prelim or the DC qualifier was, I'd been doing some I'd eaten a few hot dogs just to get ready. I've just been drinking a lot of water, trying to exercise, although I haven't really, to be honest, just lying to myself. And like you said, it just was, a lot of it was just muscle memory, going in and being excited. And then it just kind of all fell back into place. I did eat 40 in 10 minutes, which is definitely a lot less than I've done in the past, but I think it's a pretty good number for being away for so long.
40 hot dogs?
Yes.
Yeah. What's the most you've eaten in what's the Nathan's time again? How much time do you get?
The Nathan's competition is 10 minutes. My personal best is 55 and 10.
Okay. All right. The fascinating part about this to me is the mechanics of it, because you talk about it like a professional does. You talk about the exercise, you talk about, the getting back into shape. And it just doesn't make sense to me. How do you get in shape? What muscles, the swallowing, breathing, not choking on stuff? What is the mechanics of making this work?
So the hardest part in eating is acquiring the initial speed, which is basically just putting the food in your mouth and it's just going down, requiring little chewing. And that seems to be more of a genetic thing where you're born with it. A lot of eaters can improve on that, but that's the overall hardest thing. And then you have the stomach capacity, which your stomach is just a giant muscle, which could easily be trained through repetition or just mind over will, And the stomach can expand exponentially a lot bigger than you can even imagine. And just a question of getting it filled to the capacity, which is very difficult in these competitions because of the time frame and just a lot of other factors. The food can be hard to get down. Hot dogs in particular are extremely difficult because you have protein and carbohydrates, and you just are taking in at least a gallon or a gallon and a half of liquid throughout the competition, which in itself is 12 pounds.
And there you're drinking the bun, right? That's one of the weirder part for people.
Yeah. So I know it's not the ideal way to eat a hot dog. I'm from Chicago, so Chicago style is great, but we're not dunking the buns here. That's for sure. We eat a Chicago
Yeah.
style. So
Yeah.
you tend to separate the hot dogs from the buns, and then you dunk the buns, and then that's your liquid. And then ideally you won't need any liquid throughout the competition, and it's just really an efficient way to do it.
Hmm. Is that why it seems like a lot of the competitors? I mean, they look like people walking around the mall. Some of them are kind of thin. I mean, is this just sort of the genetic freakishness of it? Why folks who do this don't weigh 700 pounds?
I think some of it is that. I think it's also weeded out like the bigger guys because in years past the real big guys were always what you thought were like the eating champions, but that's not really the case anymore because you don't really, it doesn't benefit you. Say you eat like, I don't know, 10,000 calories in a day. We're eating that much in 10 minutes. So it doesn't matter that you can do that long term. It's a lot better and harder to do it faster. And you can't really be that big and do the great volumes of food because it's a very physical thing. And I'm also learning this time around, I'm probably like 20, probably 40 pounds heavier than I was 10 years ago. And it's been a lot more difficult because the fat is very restricting on your stomach. It's holding you back. So it doesn't help you at all. It actually hurts you to be that big.
That's interesting. So, leading up to an event for you? What is your everyday diet like, and how does your body, like when you're in the height of it, and now, how did your body respond to, as you said, all those calories all at one time?
So the biggest issue going into all these competitions is you need to have a technique. So you would practice going in and trying to figure out the best, fastest way to do it. And then that way, when you go to the competition, you have a game plan and you can implement that. As far as eating and prepping, it's just you drink a lot of water. You eat like low calorie foods. Like I like to eat a bunch of watermelon because it's easy, it tastes good, and it's not that hard on your system. You process it pretty fast. And as far as like the volume and competition, it's not pleasant afterwards. Your body. I don't know. You get that question a lot. It's kind of gross. I mean, your body just can't process that amount of food, so
Mhm.
you just don't feel good for a couple days after. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, I think we got each other on that. But like 2 weeks from now, assuming you don't have a competition, it's Tuesday. You get up. If you drink coffee or not, what's breakfast? What's lunch? What's dinner? Is that you're just having an average guy day, right?
Yeah, I mean, I wake up every day and I try to wait as long as possible to eat, just because I've been struggling with overeating my whole life, and it's not an issue. It just I have to be very conscious of it. So like I try to undereat because I know when I'm going to overeat, it's going to be kind of crazy. So I don't know, I'm a chef, so I work in the kitchen and I'm always around food, and it's just a lot of tasting stuff. But I never sit down for meals, and I never eat breakfast, and I do like the not by choice, just the intermittent fasting stuff. Try to wait as long as possible to eat.
Hmm. I mean, not to get too deep into your. I mean, yeah, do you guys like have cholesterol worries? I guess it's all different, individual too.
So the actual eating stuff is like we talked about. It's better to be a little bit leaner and meaner, and I don't know. That's the bigger indicator is your weight. It's like it's how you take care of yourself away from the table, as we call it, because it's crazy. You're getting rewarded for eating a lot, and then I don't know. In the beginning, you think you have something to prove, and you're just overeating all the time because that's what people expect of you, and then you just have to
Yeah.
really find that healthy median where it's like you have to balance it.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I definitely have I have heartburn issues, so I take Prilosec every day, and but I probably was going to be taking that anyways because I eat like a total. I mean, I tend to eat like an asshole when I'm not watching it. So
Do you find that there is a food that I'll ask it a couple ways that you like to eat in the contest that you hate either because you think it tastes awful or you like it in your real life and you don't want to ruin it by competing with it? I mean, are there different kind of ways you go with that?
so there are a lot of foods I've had to eat in competition that I don't like. Like raw oysters is a little bit hard for me because I don't really like the texture. I don't really like pickled jalapenos, which I've done. I have the record in oysters and jalapenos, but it doesn't really actually matter. Like if you're on the top level, you go into the competition. The food is just a byproduct. It's not. You don't taste it. If the worst case scenario, you get textures, and if you're tasting the food, then you're not there 100%. You're not in the zone. And I've had it a few times where I tasted the food and it wasn't very pleasant, but for the most part, the food is just like, I don't know, it's not really an issue for me, at least.
It sounds like it's the physical is in the preparation to kind of be able to do it from the genetics and then practicing and working your way up. But it sounds very mental once you get to eating day.
Yeah, you kind of just have to go into a different place and you just turn your brain off, and like getting in the zone is a great feeling. I mean, that was one of the things I missed. I missed the travel, I missed the camaraderie, doing well at something, and then just that feeling when you just are in it and you feel great. I never had that growing up in sports or anything where I was actually good at anything, and eating was like the one thing I was pretty good at. So that's definitely a plus to it.
Mm-hmm. Do you know, like when you get up on the stand, when or at the table or wherever you are, whatever contest, if you're going to beat someone? I mean, can you see in their eyes? You hear about this in other sports. Are huge upsets possible? How does this work? What's the game within the game?
I tend to find like through the other, I mean, from the other eaters, I kind of know if I can win or not. Uh, there's one competition, Joey Chestnut will always win hot dogs, but any other competition is up for grabs. I'm happy to be good friends with Joey, so I know if he's taking it serious or not. He's very beatable in other foods, but not in hot dogs. And then there's different disciplines. Like there are like debris foods like ribs and wings, which that anybody can win those events because they take technique, and that at any given day somebody could show up in the top 10 and they could do really well and blow everybody else out. And then a lot of the other foods you kind of just know based on the rankings and the camaraderie and the other eaters, like if you're going to do well or not, if you can win, you know.
Did you say debris foods? What was that?
Yeah.
That means where stuff flies everywhere? Is it, I don't know. What's that mean?
I think that just means like ribs, wings, or like I guess you could say a technique food is a better description.
Okay. So you make it sound like different eaters are more genetically predisposed to certain foods, or I mean, so like, why is Joey so unbeatable at hot dogs?
I think the reason Joey's so good at hot dogs is mentally he is by far stronger, and I don't know, he decided a long time ago. We came up at the same time, so he was telling everybody that he was going to beat Kobayashi, and then we all told him he was crazy because we all believed that he was unbeatable. And for a couple of years, he was unbeatable, and then Joey came in and ruined his life and took him down. But he just decided he was going to do it, and he's able to, for whatever reason. I think some of it's genetic for sure, and then also I think the bigger thing with him is he's able to push himself to the breaking point. And for hot dogs, like a lot of the eaters, so usually halfway through the competition, you notice they start drinking a lot of water to just get it down because you're naturally slowing down. But he does not slow down, and he does not drink like a single sip of water that he doesn't ingest through the buns, which is like very incredible, you know, to me, being an insider.
Is hot dogs the hardest?
Yeah, for me, hot dogs are the hardest, and he if he's going to eat 76 hot dogs and buns, he's looking at food and water weight. He's over at like 25 or 26 pounds, which is like astronomical.
That's just a whole bunch. That's a whole bunch.
Yeah, that's a lot.
All right, so I know you're a Chicago guy. I know you cook. I believe. Do you still you have a taco place? Is that right?
I had a restaurant called Taco in a Bag for 6 years. We closed down due to COVID, but I'm still cooking around a little bit. So,
tell me more about the origin story. Every superhero has one. Every competitive eater has one. Take me back to wee little guy who first discovers he's got an ability for this.
I just remembered. I think the first time there's a few things in my history. I think when I was 16, I was at like a company picnic for my dad's company, and I went in a pie eating contest, and I beat I beat a bunch of grown men, and then I ate a whole pie afterwards as like showing off, you know. So that was one thing, and then I remember one year, I think there was a barbecue in high school, and I ate like I think 8 or 10 hot dogs on top of my regular lunch, you know. So that was something, and then I don't know. It's a talent that I don't know. I just was looking for something to be good at, and I don't want to say it was my identity, but you know, when you're a teenager and you have nothing going on and you graft something onto your personality, it's kind of embarrassing to say I did that, but I guess eating a lot or just being that guy was my thing for a
Yeah.
while. And then did my first professional event. I did pretty well. This was probably 19 years ago. And then I swore I would never do it again because I felt terrible. And then, like, I don't know, fast forward to this, I've been around, done it everywhere. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I think you mentioned that you missed the travel a little bit. I mean, is it sort of like, the stand-up comedy where, you got the moment there on the stage and the lights are bright, but really people who travel a lot of it kind of sucks. I mean, was that tough being out there, or, I mean, was there a circuit, or is it do this one, come home, do this one, come home? How was that?
so at the height of the eating there's a lot of ebb and flows with it where it'll be hot for a while and then it'll kind of taper down a little bit. Now we're in like a YouTube renaissance where that's like the new thing. So I don't know. It's just there was one year when I believe I did 47 contests in one year, which was a lot. So that's almost every weekend. Uh, it did get a little grueling, but I just like the aspect. I want to go to every state and I want to go everywhere I can. So like, was going to just random places like the state fair and Minot, North Dakota, eating. It's just like random stuff like that.
You definitely got everywhere if you got up there.
Yeah.
I think I know how you got the nickname Deep Dish, but please explain it.
So I broke the cardinal rule of giving yourself a nickname because I'm from Chicago. So when you come up, it's like a boxer. You have to have a dumb name. So from Chicago, Deep Dish Pizza was obviously what we're known for. And it's kind of weird because I prefer the thin crust. We actually
Oh,
style
no.
pizza.
They let you stay there?
If you ask any Chicagoan, I don't know. I eat it like once. I eat deep dish. I haven't eaten deep dish in 3 years. So
Okay.
I know. You just have to have a dumb name. So that was it. And
Okay.
it's stuck. It works. So
Now, I think I've got like a list of stuff you've eaten and how fast, and it's mind-boggling. But we're talking about this pizza. You ate a Giordano's pizza in 6 minutes by yourself?
yeah, I did. Yeah.
I have no word. How in the hell did you do that?
I don't know. I think not as big as you would think. This was maybe 3 or 4 pounds, but I don't know. That's actually my childhood pizza. I grew up on that Giordano,
Yeah.
so it was easy.
It's good stuff, but my God, that's impressive. And then I think number two, 444 wings in 30 minutes.
Yeah, that was a big event in Philly. That's like the technique food. So like that contest is very fun because there's like 20,000 people there, and you're just not chewing. You're just getting the food off, and it can be very fun because you're just going full speed for 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Where most competitions you are limping across the finish line. This one you just kind of get better and faster as the competition goes on.
Yeah. Is there a record? I mean, I'm looking here. You and Joey Chestnut record for 3 candy bars in less than a minute. That was 2010. That was a while ago. Any of these records of yours that you look back and you either think, I don't know how I did that, or I can't do that again, or one that just kind of boggles you?
I think I did 275 pickled jalapenos in 8 minutes, which was very good. I think I did the math. It was like 14 or 15 pounds worth. So that's probably the one where I don't know. Nobody's crazy enough or dumb enough they don't do that competition. But even if they did, I don't think anyone's crazy or dumb enough to do it again, or attempt that. That's a good one.
Yeah. Now, what's your realistic expectation going into Nathan's 2022?
I mean, do you want me to lie and tell you I'm going to win? Because I'm not going to do that. I have,
You can tell me whatever you want, but let's be honest, whatever you think.
I think, to be honest, I did 40 in my qualifier. As long as I don't do less than that, I will be happy. If I get anywhere between 45 and 50, I will be happy.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever that puts me, probably somewhere in the top 5. Let's just say
Mm-hmm.
top 5, and then 45 to 50, and I'll be a happy boy.
Is there a check for top 5?
I think it does pay out top 5, so yes.
Okay.
I don't know what it is anymore, but
I see if the ratings are updated, you're number 11 in Major League Eating. Are you going to keep on going after Nathan's? Are you going to dabble? What are you going to do?
Yeah, I think I'll do a few more events. I'll pick and choose. Actually, there's a banana pudding contest in August that's in Alabama, so I'm going to do that one. That's the next one. I've never been to Alabama, so gives me that's the fun part about the travel. You get to go to places you would never go. So that's the main reason I'm going to that one. And then stuff will pop up throughout the year, and then you never know. I'm not going to go full time back in it like I did before, but I'll probably pick and choose, and we'll see. To be honest, I never would have guessed that I'd be back doing this, and really thought I wouldn't. So I'm here now. So never say never.
There you are. Well, watch out in Alabama because they like to put that little vanilla wafer in there.
Oh yeah.
That's probably going to soak up some spit. That's a big thing in the South. So, okay, we have been speaking for 2 minutes and 27 seconds. How many hot dogs could you have eaten if you were eating the entire time we were talking?
2 minutes. Usually by 2.5 minutes, I'm at like 20 to 25 hot dogs.
So in 22 minutes, you would have been.
22 minutes. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
We'll do the math. We're not going to make you eat hot dogs for 22
minutes. I don't know. In 22 minutes. The thing is, after 10 minutes, you're usually pretty maxed out. I think I could probably get close to 60 or 65 hot dogs in 22 minutes. It wouldn't be pretty, though.
That's an astounding number. Thanks for making it to the end. That was Pat Bertoletti, a contestant in this weekend's Nathan's annual hot dog eating contest. I'm Brant James, and thanks for coming by.